This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
The next question has been submitted by Lewis Quigg. Deborah Barrett-Cole has also submitted a similar question. Both will be addressed in one answer. Will the leader of the council, like any right-minded person in our town, condemn the actions of a convicted criminal who is planning to carry out street patrols in Oldham and Chadderton? Does she agree that this is an unacceptable development, and will she take action to stop a convicted criminal from patrolling our streets and support Greater Manchester Police in asking for more street patrols and funding for our police from the Mayor of Greater Manchester? And can the leader please tell me if she agreed with her long-time friend Mohammed Imran Ali, brackets Irish Imi, setting up groups of people to patrol the streets at night in Chadderton and Wearmouth? And will she be making available funds for equipment needed for nighttime street patrols? I call on Councillor SHAH again. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for reading out the question. As a council, we would not seek to condemn any member of the public who wishes to improve their local area. People's concerns about the levels of crime in their area are very real and something that all members hear about from their local residents very regularly. GMP work closely with individuals or groups looking to establish local neighbourhood or street watch schemes like the one this question refers to. We have passed on details of this proposed scheme to Greater Manchester Police so that they can engage with individuals involved directly to provide this advice and support.
And I would ask Councillor SHAH to agree that any suggestion of vigilante groups keeping law and order in our town are strongly discouraged and stopped. Thank you.
Councillor SHAH, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And of course, I don't understand why I keep getting this continuous questions around vigilante groups or anything else, and the police being the first point of contact. I find it deeply offensive that there's even an assumption that that's not something that I would believe in. I've mentioned previously about my upbringing, my background, my experiences, but I am here and I know who I am, and I am here to lead the council to make the lives better of every single resident who lives in this council. So I welcome Councillor Graham Sheldon's comments, but I'd also like to point people to using policy areas to attack each other and have discussion and debate around, but not make any other assumptions that are dumbfounded and they know that aren't necessary or appropriate for this chamber, because every time we speak and every time we behave in a certain way and give room to these kind of conversations, we're actually doing a disservice to democracy for other people who are watching us, and I'd just like to remind everybody in the chamber of our responsibilities. Thank you, Madam Mayor. But Madam Mayor, if I can, I'd like to raise a wider point. We're all very aware of the hate being stoked up in our communities. We've seen it online, locally and nationally with a shocking response to the result of the Euros. We've seen a growth in the kind of dehumanising language used by Mr. Quigg. By calling someone a parasite, we invite people to treat them as less than human and open to attack. Like several other members in this chamber, Madam Mayor, I've experienced a barrage of it in the last couple of years. You can attack my political decisions all you want, but most of the time, instead, I get attacks against me as a person. And sadly, we've seen people in this chamber echoing the arguments of those who seek to divide us, even when they admit elsewhere there's no evidence to support them. I hope they can now see the potential and real consequences of their actions. This is not a game, because real lives and people's lives are at stake. Oldham, Madam Mayor, is better than this, and it's time for all of us to show it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011, he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
It is 9 minutes past 9. and we arrived late. Some of us arrived late because we had no idea of what was taking place. Others arrived late because they were scared of losing their jobs or what would happen to them if they spoke out. And then there were those of us who arrived late because we were fearful that we would be branded racists and far-right agitators. A few of us arrived late because we knew how powerful these people are and what they could do to us. After all, they have not just gangsters on speed dial, they have the highest politicians in the land in their back pockets. But it doesn't matter how many of us arrived late. We are now here, and we now know what we face. I have spent the day fielding calls. The video I released, honouring my obligation to my friends in Glodick, has now spread not just across the town, not just across the country, but across the world. People from Australia, Canada, the States, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, across Africa have viewed the footage. The mainstream media is desperately trying to continue to cover up what is taking place in this northern mill town. Labour Party MPs are desperately scrambling for cover, distancing themselves. We must be grateful to those brave few individuals from Glodick who leaked this footage. The evidence is damning, and regardless of what alternative theories are being presented by gangster-affiliated moles, the people of this northern town are not stupid. Every one of you, if you are not angry already, you should be. They have not just played us, they have attempted to manipulate us, to silence us, to have us falsely arrested so that they can take over this town. I don't know what the way forward is now. What should have happened by now is that the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives should have issued statements. What should have happened by now is that Greater Manchester Police should have issued a statement. What should have happened by now is that Jim McMahon, Debbie Abrahams and Angela Rayner should have issued a statement. What should have happened by now is the Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham, issue a statement. And that statement should have been, we condemn and object to any attempt by mobster vigilantes to take to the streets of any community in any town. But they have not. And in that silence, their actions damn them. Because that means, and they know about this, that means they agree with mobsters taking to the streets of Oldham. They agree with gangsters who have been convicted for serious violence, patrolling the streets of the town. Now, Keir Starmer previous chief prosecutor of the Crown Prosecution Service must issue a statement. AROOJ SHAH must be suspended. Jim McMahon must be suspended. They both have direct links to gangsters. And neither of them will denounce the gangster. And neither of them will come out and say we are alarmed at these stories that gangsters want to patrol the streets with the permission of the council. On a practical level, that footage is now in the inboxes of every major insurance company. Your house insurance will go up, your car insurance will go up, every form of insurance of everyone in Oldham will go up. The town will be on some form of insurance blacklist. That door was unlocked. Oldham already is in one of the highest insurance bracket areas in the country. It's in the top 10. I think it was top 6. The leader of Oldham Council's car had an alarm. Why did the alarm not go off? And as for the theory being bandied about by their supporters, and that's where it's come from. This theory has come from their supporters who have took to social media attempting to pass this off as what happened, as an excuse. It doesn't stack up. You also, the smashing of the window after the door had been opened. You also saw that that door, the expectation that that door was unlocked. And you all saw how that window was smashed afterwards. The theory is, oh, it needs oxygen for it to take fire. It already had oxygen because the door was open. There are two main ways in which you torch a car. I had an exchange over the weekend with some old Irish friends of mine that I came across in a past life. They laughed at the footage. Raja, there's two ways we would blow up cars. We would douse them in petrol from the outside and they'd eventually go up. But if you wanted the bang, we'd smash the window, we'd throw the bomb in, and then it'll blow up from the inside. If they already opened the door, there was no need to smash the window because the oxygen is already in there. Greater Manchester Police have failed to issue a statement because the people of the town want to see the earlier footage. I want to see the earlier footage. I want to see if the boot was emptied, if the if the back seats were emptied, if the CD collection were pulled out beforehand, if the box of Jimmy Choos came out of the boot. That's what I want to see. They tried to use this to demonstrate, to condemn my town as a bunch of filthy racists. That's what they did. They tried to portray us, use this to portray us as racists. The council did. The councillors did. The MPs did. Where are they now? Where are their posts now? Running, hoping this goes away. And it'll only go away if we let them. The police can't be trusted. Because the police are controlled by Andy Burnham. They are blowing up cars in the middle of our street at night. People could have died. What will they do next? What will these people do next? The council has already endorsed, supported vigilantes to take to the street. I'm not making that up. You just heard me play that. That was a sequence of cuts from the council meeting on Wednesday. The council have already endorsed vigilantes to take to the street. Gangsters, mobsters, to go out and hand out their version of street justice. What does that explosion now look like? It definitely doesn't look anything like far-right racism, does it? I'll tell you what I think it looks like. 1, it's an insurance job. 2, the blowing up of it support and validate vigilantes to take to the streets to patrol their own communities. It's a setup. 3, it's an attempt by the leader of the council to gain sympathy from the wider community. And the crocodile tears come. And 4, and this isn't a theory, it's a fact as far as I'm concerned, it's demonstrated. It will be used by Jim McMahon to claim that we are the ones responsible for inciting violence, so we can be arrested and silenced. This is a dark day for democracy in not just this town, not just in this country, but in the Western democracy. It is a dark day. Pakistani gangsters have took to the streets of the town and now control the town. They control the police and they control the civic centre. They control the politicians. Heroin dealers control this town. You think I'm exaggerating? What else does that show you? Heroin dealers control the streets of Oldham. Today they're blowing up cars. Tomorrow, what do you think they'll be doing tomorrow? What do you think they'll be doing to your children? What do you think they'll be doing to your businesses? How much of your wages will you have to hand over for protection money? And the police have refused to condemn it. Greater Manchester Police, Andy Burnham, Keir Starmer have all refused to condemn it. They've ignored that Jim Ignatius AROOJ McMahon is involved in all of this. MPs are running for the hills, distancing themselves. Those who'd like to smooth things over and hope nothing happened are desperately chatting to their friends in the mainstream media. And then you see people like, and what's he called, Jay Beecher, come along and share this. There is a danger to this. For those who don't know who Jay Beecher is, he's this right-leaning journalist who wrote against Sean Fielding, then quickly backtracked, even though it's afterwards now been proven from Sean Fielding's own interview of what he did. Jay Beecher has posted the video without any of the context. And that means Muslims like me are now being targeted and victimed by people who are unfamiliar with our town. They are encouraging racism, and the people who control the narrative in this town, the councillors, the police, the politicians, they are allowing this to happen. Oh, it's those Muslims who are doing it. It was the Muslims who leaked the video, and he omitted that. And that omission is making every Muslim in this town a target. It is making people in this town a target. Those of us who belong to this town know this has got nothing to do with race. This is to do with gangsters in bed with politicians. It is as simple as that. Gangsters, politicians, and corrupt council officers. And throw in the odd dodgy corrupt police officer whilst we're at it. The town is on the brink. It is the laughing stock of everywhere else, and it is now being exploited by racists elsewhere because the police won't do their job. It's a mess. It's a complete and utter mess. The main police officer in Oldham has left. DCI Jim Faulkner. My understanding is he has left Oldham because he was prevented from doing his job, which was going after corrupt politicians and corrupt council officials. Andy Burnham, the mayor, who posted "We won't be intimidated," now won't post anything. And the other political parties are either in bed with the Labour Party run administration in this town, or are too scared, too weak, too inept, or too inexperienced, and take your pick, to say a single word. This is a disgrace. And if it hadn't been for this interaction between me and you, for which I risk my life, we would be none the wiser. And I don't want credit. I want outrage. That's what these people are keeping from you. I had a conversation just before I came on. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. And my nephew I had a conversation with. I sat outside my mother's house. Devout Muslim. Raja, I talk to my friends about you. They know you're my uncle. Some of them can't palate what you say, but every one of us is scared. What will happen when they round us all up and put us in the same constituency? What will happen to us then? Why has not a single one of the politicians in this town spoken up on this? Because they all benefit from it in the short term. They personally benefit. So what? If in 10 years' time that you've created a ghetto, an enclave with its own laws, Oldham Council endorses mobsters to patrol the streets. That's what you saw in that video. The politicians, the Labour politicians and the Lib Dem politicians in particular, used the firebombing of AROOJ SHAH's car to try and make political gain by immediately trying to have me arrested, when all I did was put up a petition All this time, the police either had the video or have got hold of the video after we released it. And if they've got hold of the video after we released it, what does that say about Greater Manchester Police? Since that video was released, it's gone around the world. But we have not had a single comment from any councillor, any politician, any public official in this country. Why? And then some right-leaning media guy puts it up without the context that it was leaked by Muslims who are concerned that their white neighbours are being portrayed as racist. He took that bit out. And what was the consequence? The racist jumped on it. Not from our town, from elsewhere. We are the laughingstock of the country. We are portrayed everywhere you go. Whisper where you're from. Who's going to proudly say I'm from Oldham after that video? Or Jim McMahon and AROOJ SHAH's nonsense with Irish Imi? We're embarrassed of where we come from. How can that be? We are embarrassed of where we come from. And we are being punished because of where we come from. The Tories need to issue a statement. Failsworth Independent Party need to issue a statement. All of them were quick, and I'm not angry at them, but I am angry. All of them were quick to offer their sympathy to AROOJ SHAH and say, oh, we're really sorry what happened to you. So where are you now? The firebombing of that car clearly appears to be staged. You do not leave a car unlocked in the middle of Glodwick. Oh, sorry, you do leave a car unlocked in the middle of Glodwick because my Glodwick friends have told me why. The only cars that are left unlocked in the middle of Glodwick are cars that the mobsters use to drop off guns, to drop off drugs, and to drop off money. Those are the types of cars, those are the reasons why cars are left unlocked in areas like that. To drop off drugs, to drop off guns, and to drop off money. It'd be handed over to the gatekeeper, wouldn't it, Paul? D.I. Kenny Blaine. Where is the statement from Greater Manchester Police? They should be interviewing under caution the people who would benefit from what took place. 1, AROOJ SHAH. 2, Irish Imi. 3, Jim McMahon. Because from where I'm standing, those are the only 3 who would benefit. 1, AROOJ SHAH either benefits financially or she benefits through the sympathy vote. Jim McMahon benefits by using it to have us arrested and have you guys shut down. And the third thing is Irish Imi benefits because it legitimizes his vigilante patrols. How long before, separate to your community charge, you are paying a £10 donation a month for a local organisation to provide security services? How long before businesses have to hand over a percentage of their takings to make sure that they're not firebombed? How long before you need to make sure with your £10 a month that, and if you don't pay that £10 a month, your car is the one that is firebombed on the street? All with the endorsement of a council and a police force that is too scared to act. And this is not a one-off incident, is it? For the last 2 years, I've been exposing one after another, after another, after another, after another. This is a corrupt council led by corrupt politicians involving corrupt public officials. Triple corruption. And now, the mobsters are endorsed to take control of the streets with the blessing of the council. I'll play it again. Let me play it again. You see this. With the blessing of the council. Listen to what she says straight away. It's with the blessing.
Deborah Barrett-Cole has also submitted a similar question. Both will be addressed in one answer. Will the leader of the council, like any right-minded person in our town, condemn the actions of a convicted criminal who is planning to carry out street patrols in Oldham and Chadderton? Does she agree that this is an unacceptable development, and will she take action to stop a convicted criminal from patrolling our streets and support Greater Manchester Police in asking for more street patrols and funding for our police from the Mayor of Greater Manchester? And can the leader please tell me if she agreed with her long-time friend Mohammed Imran Ali, brackets Irish Immy, setting up groups of people to patrol the streets at night in Chadderton and Wearmouth? And will she be making available funds for equipment needed for nighttime street patrols? I call on Councillor SHAH again. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for reading out the question. As a council, we would not seek to condemn any member of the public who wishes
The question was specific. It wasn't about any member of the public. It was specifically about one member of the public. Her, whatever he is to her, gangster mate, convicted heroin dealer, violent criminal, getaway driver of Dale Cregan, and Oldham cop killer. The council would not condemn him. Or is it she won't condemn him? Is this what you want in our town? Is this what you want everywhere you go? Oh, that's the town where gangsters run the town. That's the town where Dale Cregan's getaway driver is the one who announces who became the leader of the council. That's the town where the MP, Jim McMahon, provided an Oldham cop killer's gangster getaway driver with a reference. That's the town where they've hidden all the grooming and gang rape of the children. It's where Shabir Ahmed came from. Your question, Lewis's question, it doesn't matter, Debbie, but there were two questions there. Both times she refused to condemn. Both times she refused to condemn. And then the third time she refused to condemn is this.
A convicted criminal.
Ask Councillor Shah to agree that any suggestion of vigilante groups keeping law and order in our town are strongly discouraged. And stopped. Thank you.
Councillor Shah, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And of course, I don't understand why I keep getting this continuous questions around vigilante groups or anything else, and the police being the first point of contact. I find it deeply offensive that there's even an assumption that that's not something that I would believe in. I've mentioned previously about my upbringing. Background, my experiences, but I am here and I know who I am, and I am here to lead the council and to make the lives better of every single resident who lives in this council. So I welcome Councillor Graham Sheldon's comments, but I'd also like to point people to using policy areas to attack each other and have discussion and debate around, but not make any other assumptions that are dumbfounded and they know that aren't necessary or appropriate for this chamber, because every time we speak and every time we behave in a certain way and give room to these kind of conversations, we're actually doing a disservice to democracy for other people.
What do Greater Manchester police officers feel like who had to bury two of their colleagues who were killed by Dale Cregan, of which Irish Emmett is a member of his gang, being asked or directed by AROOJ SHAH's Oldham Council to assist him in his vigilante scheme? Exactly, Sue. I'm sorry if some of your screens are freezing. It's not at my end. I'm not doing anything other than what I normally do. So and it's broadcasting here at my end. So the video will be uploaded anyway afterwards, and you'll be able to watch it again if need be. If, and this is what I fear, if Greater Manchester Police did not issue a statement confirming that this was not racially motivated, then I fear for this town. If the politicians in this town do not stand up and ask the police to investigate without fear or favour, then I fear for the future of this town. And if AROOJ SHAH and Jim McMahon remain in charge of this town as a tag team combo, as they have done for the last 5 years or so, no one thinks that Sean Fielding was in charge. Don't be stupid. And no surprise, 155 police officers from Greater Manchester Police have put in formal requests to be transferred out of Mr. Burnham's politically motivated and biased force. No surprise. I think there are some simple questions, aren't there? To the parking of that car in that way in the lead up to the explosion. Was it parked in the normal space? It always was. My understanding of Glodick is a very condensed area, yet that car appeared to have lots of space around it that evening. Is that normally the case? Have the police interviewed council leader AROOJ SHAH? It was her car. Have Greater Manchester Police interviewed her? Have Greater Manchester Police interviewed Jim McMahon? He immediately jumped on it to try and have me arrested. Now, I'm not being paranoid, but from where I'm standing, it looks like something that was coordinated, not to kill one, not two, not three, but 4 birds with one stone. Get a new car, sympathy vote, get the vigilante patrols up, and shut down the opposition. Shut down those who have the courage to stand up to the tyrants that are now on the verge of taking over the streets officially of our town. There are 60, 70 of you watching so far. I've had 25, 29 likes. Please, if you are getting value from this, hit that like button, and if you are getting value from this, please consider buying me a coffee. I am exhausted with this. I've been fielding calls 24 hours a day since last Tuesday or so, when this whatever it is began to unravel. I am deeply distressed at how genuine racists are using the video footage to exploit and attack the decent people in our town, the decent Muslims in our town, because journalists like Jay Beecher has omitted where the video came from. And that's not about me. I don't care about me. I am deeply concerned that in the absence of information from the police, even as much of a statement, the mainstream media aren't going to do anything. In that absence, people will turn on each other as pressure from outside grows. GMP have a self-declared gatekeeper, Debbie Cole. That self-declared gatekeeper's name is D.I. Kenny Blaine. Kenny Blaine prevented an investigation into multiple cases of corruption involving politicians and council officers. When people like Paul Boots Errock complained about what Kenny Blaine did, the GMP systems kicked in to protect Kenny Blaine. So, as much as I have contempt and disdain for Kenny Blaine, this isn't just on him. This is on Greater Manchester Police. The mainstream media have run for the hills. They are covering this up. Where is Jennifer Williams? Where is Charlotte Green? Where is that, whatever he's called, at Oldham Times, a new idiot? You know what that new idiot did? He sent me that email asking if he could use the footage. And I sent him the footage to say, yes, you can use it with this statement. And the statement was specific. This video is thanks to the brave people of Glodick who smuggled this out so the rest of us could see what was going on. We can't use that quote. We won't be able to use that quote because this is a live police investigation. He is a cover-up merchant scumbag. Oldham Times, cover-up merchant scumbags. They can portray me and you as far-right activists, but they can't put on next to that video where it was leaked from. Thanks, Dennis. I'm not sure, by the way, why this comes up for some of it doesn't for others. And yes, Sue, I got your coffees. Lynn, I think I got your coffees as well, and everyone else. So thank you, Teresa. I'm grateful. My issue isn't, I'm grateful to everyone who sends me the coffees, who subscribes to the channels. But the truth is, and it is the truth, it is a small number of us who are in this together. We have hundreds, thousands of people who view this. And if I got a pound off everyone, I'd be fine. But that's unfortunately not how it works. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining for that. What I'm questioning is if this platform does not exist, then this movement dies. And they go back to doing whatever they want, however they want. Now I'm happy to shift and someone else take the space, and I'll happily support someone else. But the facts are very, very simple. I have a target on my head from the Labour Party-run council in this town. I have a target on my head from the gangsters that are in bed with the Labour Party, and I have a target on my head from the council officials who have been shamed for their corruption and what they have done to this town. The issue with the insurance is this is now being shared with every insurance company, and this has now been seen by every person in this town who will look at it and think, if they can get away with blowing up a car, true or not, but that's what they'll think. If they can get away with blowing up a car and claiming an insurance, so can I. What do you think a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old will think? These people need to be arrested. They need to be questioned under caution as to what took place. It's impossible to defend, isn't it, Paul? It's impossible to defend. And the morons that are desperately pushing this, oh, he smashed the window so oxygen could get in. The door was already open. Oxygen was already getting in. Why? I don't believe she did it because of the money. I don't believe a senior politician anywhere would blow up their own car for money. So those of you who are coming to me and saying, oh, she did it for the insurance money, I can't see that theory playing out. She's a rich woman. She owned Gelato's Ice Lounge or whatever it's called, that she sold to her brother, and now it's a mocktail bar. She owns a house. She's got a very well-paid job as leader of the council. She won't have blown up this car for her money. I actually don't believe this was an insurance job. But what I can see and what I do believe is whatever took place, they have maximized political gain from it. And I can theorize what I think took place, but it's for the police to investigate. And we know, unfortunately, in this town, through our own experiences, we know Greater Manchester Police will not investigate. We know this because we saw what D.I. Kenny Blaine did. The insurance consequences for this town is that all of our insurance will go up and others will attempt to replicate what took place here. And in a town that is at the top tier, in the top 10 insurance hotspots in the country, and by my reckoning, Glodick as a neighbourhood is even higher. Who leaves the door unlocked? Who leaves the car alarm off? No. I think that's the narrative. Whether she did it or not, whether someone else did it, whether Jim McMahon was involved with Irish Imin, AROOJ, SHAH, and they all sat together and had a mocktail whilst they plotted and schemed, I don't know. But it's a question, isn't it? Because all three of them benefited from this. Is that not how I watched Columbo growing up? Is that not how it works? Who benefited from this? Those are always your suspects, aren't they? Who benefited from the crime? Well, who benefited from the crime? If only, Madam Mayor, would I blow up my own car. If only, Madam Mayor. It doesn't matter what happened to the two guys who the police have got, and even if they were the ones that did it, I do not believe. I mean, you've seen the video footage. There were two Muppets. There were two clowns. They were clearly acting on the instructions or from the payment from elsewhere. I think that's very clear from what we saw. These weren't two expert arsonists. If I had the Benny Hill music, I'd overdub it with the Benny Hill music. Indeed. Indeed, John. The Muslims in Glodick leaked this information. The Muslims in Glodick know that they will be victimized because of what took place. The Muslims in Glodick want an end to these gangsters and drug dealers the same as everyone else. No one wants to live in a community where mobsters control the streets. It's a joke, Paul. I spoke to some, as I said, I spoke to some of my old Irish mates and they laughed at the footage. You smash the window and you throw the petrol bomb in. If the door's open, you open the door and you just douse it in petrol, light it and walk off. You don't smash a window before you blow up the car, because the noise of the smashing glass, particularly if you got your door open, when the door is already open and you have then you have no need to smash the window to throw in whatever you're throwing into the car to blow it up. The barrier no longer exists and the oxygen is already inside. But this is a desperate theory put together and put out there, hoping that somehow it gains some traction and shifts the attention elsewhere. Indeed, Debbie. One of them contacted me yesterday evening, very, very late. We are grateful to you. And we are grateful to everyone that shares it. We don't want these people running our neighborhood. And that's what is taking place. The gangsters are running these neighborhoods. And now these gangsters openly walk the corridors of the civic centre. These gangsters have their photographs taken alongside police officers. And these mobsters and their plans are endorsed by Labour Party politicians, and should they get in trouble, Labour Party politicians will help keep them out of jail by giving them references. The council endorses vigilantism. Oldham Council endorses vigilantism. And not a single councillor opposed her. Why? They weren't stupid. Were they too inexperienced? Were they agreeing with her? Or worse, were they scared? Were they scared of what would happen to them if they spoke out? I think that's the reason. They were scared. Shoaib Akhtar and Fida Hussein had already seen what would happen to them in the past when they did not vigorously enough support AROOJ SHAH. They were scared. Every politician in that chamber was scared of what the mobsters would do to them. Or they agree with the mobsters and they financially as well as politically benefit from the arrangement. What other explanation is there? Why else would a politician, a law-abiding citizen in this country, sit there silently whilst the councillor in charge of the town endorsed vigilantism? It's never going to happen, Debbie. Never going to happen. Some of these guys, I don't even know who they are. They cannot expose, they cannot disclose who they are. Never going to happen. What would have happened if that video footage hadn't come out? I think the chances are I'd be arrested by now. Many of you who support me would be questioned or had a knock on the door by the police. And the vigilante street patrols would be fast-tracked by Oldham Council to the point where I believe they would be funding them directly. Tell the people. Tell them the truth. Tell them the white people in our town are not the racists. Tell them we are not misogynists. Tell them what is really going on. And yet, even though that video has been organically shared by people on social media, the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, Guardian, Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, Oldham Times, all of them, none of them have picked up on it, yet all of them were quick to jump on the poor Muslim rape woman. Look what they're doing in that northern town to that poor Muslim woman. Every Labour Party politician has seen that. The phones have been going off the hook between them. Quick to come to her defence. Not a single one is commenting on this video. I think it's more than just about how much money they're spending on communications. I think the careers of some of these journalists is dependent upon their relationship with these corrupt politicians and corrupt council officials and their criminal associates. That video I put up, I'll get it tidied up and I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll put it up on Facebook and you guys share it if you feel you want to share it. Comment on it if you feel you want to comment on it. But my ask of you up to the deadline for the Boundary Commission is sign that petition. Do not let Oldham become a Muslim enclave controlled by gangsters in bed with corrupt Labour Party politicians. The actions of the last 7 days are a reflection. No, the actions of the last 7 days are a window into a future that none of us want to see. This is not Beirut, and I do a disservice to Beirut by saying that. The place these people want to make our town is not the town we want for ourselves or our children or our grandchildren. And what we are doing is not just opposing them, we are opposing every single one of them that want to turn white people like you in the main against brown people like me. And that's why they portrayed this as a racially motivated attack without even knowing it was. And now that the evidence clearly suggests something else, not one of them will issue a statement. Oxygen. Ooh, they smashed a glass for oxygen on an open door. My name is Raj Amir. This is a RECUSANT 9 transmission. Thank you very, very much for taking the time. Hopefully I'll get to see you soon. Good night.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.